Hey everybody, Syntax77 here, and today we're going to be taking a look at the brand new Olight S1R Baton II. Yes, that's the second iteration, the upgraded version, if you will, of the original SR1 Baton. This is a USB rechargeable everyday carry flashlight. I personally have been using it for a bit now. Now it is brand new, like I said. It's actually just being released today, but I was actually lucky enough to get my hands on a pre-release model that I've been testing for a little bit now. So in this video, I'm going to go over my thoughts and experiences with it, and I'll also show you all of the operating procedures, modes, etc. for this light. I do want to point out for my loyal viewers and subscribers, if you are watching this right away, there is actually, to celebrate the release of this flashlight, a flash sale today only. That's Friday, September 28th, 2018. You can get this for 25% off. You just use the link in my video description down there, and you'll be all hooked up. In the future, check the video description anyway. There may be some new links down there. But let's get right into it. The SR1 Baton II is a very small form factor flashlight, as you can see in my hand there. It's 2.48 inches long with a diameter of 0.83 inches. It's got a lumen output range of all the way from as low as 0.5 lumens on moonlight mode all the way up to turbo mode, which will push out 1000 lumens, which is a 100 lumen increase over the original SR1 Baton. In between those two extremes, there is also a low mode at 12 lumens, a medium mode at 60 lumens, and a high mode at 600 lumens. I will point out that for both the turbo and high modes, they will run at that maximum output for 1.5 minutes approximately, and then they'll step down to 300 lumens and continue to run from there. The reason for that is to avoid overheating, etc. Once it gets to an unsafe operating temperature, this thing's going to kick down to 300 lumens so that it does not overheat or damage the battery. All of these maximum output stats, by the way, are using the proprietary Olight battery that does come with the unit. You can use your own battery. The battery format is an IMR 16340 style of battery, but if you use your own battery, your maximum outputs will be limited to 600 lumens. I believe the reason for that is because of the higher C rating on the Olight battery, but we'll get into that in a moment. It does have the magnetic charging cap on the end there, and that's a standard USB on the other end. You can plug it into any USB outlet or portable charger, and this guy will charge up. Keep it by your nightstand, etc. It also has a little LED light on it, which makes a nice little night light. Makes it real easy to find in the dark if you're charging it bedside, etc. You could also keep this in your car and have it charging up on the way to a work site or a camping trip or whatever, and you're good to go without ever having to mess around and take the battery out. Pretty convenient. On the body here, you'll see some nice texturing for grip, and right there we have the pocket clip, which is removable. I keep mine on there because I like to keep mine in my back pocket. Although form factor wise, this probably is a perfect flashlight for somebody that would like to just throw it in their pocket, their front pocket. This would sit there pretty nice. I've experimented with carrying it that way as well, and it is quite convenient. So you have those options. It is a reversible clip on there, so you can go either lens up in your pocket or lens down. Another nice thing about this pocket clip, on some flashlights the clip can kind of spin freely on there. On this one, it is locked in place. It does not move. Why is that important? Well, at least for me, that's good for muscle memory. This is always in the exact same spot. It's opposite the power button. Because on a tail switch activated light, you know your button's always right there. That's a major advantage for quickly activating a light like that. On these lights, it takes a little more practice, but you will eventually get used to where that power button is. But by knowing that the tail clip is always in that same position, I found that I get that muscle memory down much quicker. Spinning around there, you can see the lens in there. It is a nice smooth lens, and from my experience, it has a real nice bright hotspot, but it transitions very smoothly. It's one of the cleanest looking lights that I've seen, with that bright hot spot in the middle, and then it kind of widens out into a flood on the outside, as you can see from these testing shots. I also did another very important and critical test that I think should be done with all flashlights, and that is testing it with my wife drinking a glass of milk.
Am I in the shot?
Yeah.
But put the light down first. Okay, now you bring it up.
On the side here, we've got the power switch. This right here will obviously turn it on and off and go through the various functions, which I'll get into right now. Click it once, of course, it will come on. And to go through high, medium, and low, you just hold it down and it steps through all of them. And you also have the option to double click it. And now it's in turbo mode, throwing 1000 lumens. And like I said, after 1 minute, it will step down to 300 lumens to keep it at a safe operating temperature. There is also a moonlight mode. You just hold this down and it will come on in 0.5 lumen mode. I've talked about it a lot on this channel. For me personally, my usage for flashlights is everyday carry. I carry a flashlight every single day, and I also like flashlights for backpacking and camping trips. 1/2 lumen is a great amount of light. It doesn't sound like much, but when you're in a close quarter situation, just doing camp chores, etc., it is actually a lot more light than you think. And on this particular light at 0.5 lumens, it will run for 8 days. Yes, 8 days. So you can get a lot of battery usage out of this. And if you're like me and carry a charger for your cell phone or camera while on your backpacking trips, you can recharge it anytime you want with the USB cable and you're back in business. Another little thing that I should point out about the USB cable that's pretty cool, you can plug it into a power source and you can run it directly off of that power source, which would give you a seemingly unlimited amount of power depending on how big your battery pack is. Kind of a cool little thing. And you also wouldn't have to worry about waiting for your battery to recharge in the field. You could plug it into your charger and be immediately good to go with power for lighting up your campsite, etc. So that's pretty convenient. You also, as you can see right now, you get this nice little carrying case for it, and they give you a container to put the battery in the event that you swap this battery out. This would be a safe place to put it so it doesn't short out. Returning to the flashlight, as far as weight goes, it is a stock weight of 1.8 ounces or 51 grams, and that is with the battery and the clip on there. You'll notice that I put the lanyard on there so I can keep that around my wrist and kind of mitigate the risk of losing it since it is such a tiny little guy. It is about 54.5 grams with that on there, so it doesn't really add much, just a couple grams. Returning to the flashlight, speaking of that power button, when you turn the light on, you'll notice it's green right now. That is a power level indicator built right into that. Green means that your battery is at 60% or higher. If it goes to yellow, you're between 10 and 60%. And if it starts going red, then you know you're at under 10% and it's time to charge it back up. There is also a lockout mode for this if you don't want it to accidentally turn on. You don't have to take the battery out to ensure that. All you have to do is, remember I said you hold down the button to go into moonlight mode? Well, we're going to continue to hold. It goes past moonlight and turns back off. Now it is locked out. If I try to turn it on, nothing going on, right? If I hold that again, it'll go to moonlight, and now it is fully unlocked and ready to go again. Let's go ahead and open it up and see what that battery looks like. An IMR 16340 battery. Like I said, this is proprietary. You'll see that 10C rating there. Remember, I said this light will only go up to 600 lumens if you use other batteries. And my assumption is because those other batteries don't have a C rating quite this high. So what is C rating? Well, let's use some water bottles as a demonstration. We'll nerd out a little bit on flashlights here. So first things first, you have milliamp hours or mAh, and then you also have the C rating, which we'll get to. Milliamp hours is essentially, in a simplified term, a measure of a battery's capacity, or how much energy is it storing. So the water inside these vessels, in our example, would be the milliamp hours. Much more in this guy than this little guy, right? But here comes the factor of the C rating. The C rating, if we had to continue with this water bottle analogy, would be where the water comes out at the end here. For the sake of comparison, I'm going to say this is a 1C rated battery. It's got the thin kind of output there. If we were to try to dump water out of here, it would come out at a certain rate, right? But it would come out much slower than, say, something wide mouth like this one. He's actually smaller than our original bottle, but he has a wider opening. So you're going to dump water out of this much faster than him, right? C rating is a measurement of how fast a battery can safely fully discharge itself. So back to the flashlight, because of that higher C rating, this light is able to dump a ton of energy very quickly, hence the ability to go up to 1,000 lumens on that turbo mode, and hence the reason that, of course, your runtime is going to be significantly impacted. Speaking of runtimes, let's just go through that real quick. You can see them on the screen there. We already went over moonlight mode. That's going to go 8 days at a half lumen. Low at 12 lumens is going to be 20 hours. Medium, 60 lumens, 3 hours, 40 minutes. That's pretty substantial. High is going to be 600 lumens for 1.5 minutes, and then it'll step down to 300 for another 45 minutes. And turbo, 1,000 lumens, stepping down after 1.5 minutes to 300 lumens, and it'll continue to run for another 37 minutes. There's also a timer function on this light that works with all of these lighting levels. To access that, all you have to do is, while the light is on, double click and hold until it blinks once. That's going to be a 3-minute timer. If you double click and hold again, you're going to get 2 blinks, and that's a 9-minute timer, after which either of those modes will turn the flashlight off. You also notice another mode on there that I didn't mention yet, and that is strobe mode. So to get into strobe mode, very simple, you're going to triple click, and you're going to get a 600 lumen, 13 hertz strobe. For those of you that like strobes, this does have one. There is no SOS mode. If that's important to you, be aware of that. It is IPX8 rated, which means it can be submerged for at least 30 minutes, and according to the stats, for up to 2 meters or 6 feet. There is also a memory mode on there, so whatever mode you were in last, it will go back to. I prefer to start on that just lowest setting of 12 lumens. I find that to be plenty, so I usually just leave mine on low. And the next time you come back to it, it'll be on low or whatever setting you like. So I'll tell you what, I've been digging this light a lot. I've been carrying it every day, and I've taken it on some camping trips, and it's pretty cool. I like the form factor. Yes, I do often like a thinner pen light for my back pocket carry, but I have adapted and found that just putting this in my front pocket is quite nice as well. Also, like I said, you could keep it in a car and always have it charged up. And speaking of vehicles or other work-related tasks, I do like that it's a magnetic tail cap, which means you can stick it to anything metal, whether that be when you're doing some work in the garage or maybe in the trunk of your car. This will stick right to the trunk lid. You know, use your imagination. There's plenty of things you can do with a magnetic tail cap. That's pretty nice, and I'm glad they included that. Color temp, as you can see listed right on the bezel there, is 6500K. That's on the cooler end of the spectrum, so it is not a real yellow or warm beam. And yeah, that pretty much covers it. A small, simple, and effective light with, for its size, some great run times, and in a pinch, if you don't mind sapping the battery, go ahead and hit that turbo mode, and you can really light up the night for critical applications, finding stuff, searching for things, whatever your situation might be. So there you go, the Olight S1R Baton II USB rechargeable flashlight. Till next time, I'm Syntax77, and you have fun out there.